I think the biggest part of my problem was that I felt like I had one good kid and one bad kid. And I did not like feeling like that. And I think then I either relied on my oldest kid to be like a third parent, telling either me to calm down or saving her baby brother from my ire and my wrath, or feeling totally at a loss if she was the bad kid. If she was the bad one, then everything was shot to hell. And really just feeling disconnected from the baby. I mean, he thinks that I hung the moon, but he also can, I mean, we're very alike, and he can push my buttons better than any person that I know. He pushes my buttons as well as I do. It's like he knows exactly where they are. And the problem was, it started with just it was the whining. The whining was, it was, it went into my inside of me and immediately triggered me. So on your scale of 0 to 5, I feel like I would wake up at a 3, and the second somebody annoyed me, I was at a 4, and then I would pop my top. And I didn't want to live by scaring my kids into doing what I want. And I was definitely teaching from authoritative parenting. So I had honestly found you on TikTok, and I needed someone who could understand my kids, my process, and speak to my kids individually by speaking to me. And so when I found you, it was sort of like the way that you either quit smoking or lose weight. I was like, this is my last. Well, of course it's your last one until it actually works. This is the last time I'm trying. And I immediately felt connected with you because you mirrored my either language choices. So I said shit once, and then in response, you also said some word that was either crap or damn or shit. So I didn't feel like I couldn't actually be myself, but I ultimately, it is the first lesson I learned from you. It's the first one I paid for prior to having our online, or, and then phone call 30-minute chat. Was I did I think it was Golden Time. And when Kip, my son, was younger, I went to a therapist, which essentially was a therapist for me, because she saw me play with him and said, there's nothing wrong. You have incredible imagination. You get down on his level. You have patience to hold where he needs space. You need to spend 10 minutes of time child-led play every day. And I did that. The thing that happened with you, it was another mom that I heard in group. She said, well, I've been labeling it. And you're like, well, you have to label it. And that changed everything. It completely, that was what revolutionized. And so it got good enough that, I mean, I will tell you, last night, my wife is out of town. I am single parenting right now. I have 2 dogs. I have multiple jobs, not just as a stay-at-home mom, which is multiple jobs in and of itself. I told my kids last night, we have a 5, 5, and 5 that I came up with from you, from our timer. You'll go to bed, you'll have 5 minutes of quiet reading time. If you're nice and quiet, it lets me know that you're engaged in your books. You're not too tired to read. You're not too tired to pay attention. I'll set the timer for another 5 minutes. 5-minute timer goes off. I set it again. By the 15 minutes, the baby is asleep and the oldest one is quietly reading, and she can mind her business doing that. I don't have to fight. I don't have to get to the point where I'm saying, get in your bed. I don't have to growl at my children. My kids put themselves to bed last night at 4 and barely 6 years old. It doesn't mean that there are, of course, I'm in the baby's room right now. There is still a rocking chair in here so that I can rock them and love them and do book time with them and do soothing and help with either tantrums or meltdowns. But last night I needed that 5, 5, and 5, where I sort of say, we're going to share responsibilities tonight. I don't think you know what that is for a parent. You put in the hard work, and it really, that's all it is. It's consistency. And that was another thing I did. We put, the lists are everywhere and the kids live by them. I didn't update our weekly list on Sunday, and my kids looked at the calendar today and said, I have like drawn out, because they can't read yet, what we do. So it's school, and then o'clock means you're going to aftercare, or school guitar lessons and karate lessons, and I draw it all out. They were like, wait, it says today we're going to Sonia's. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't update it because mama left and I've got a lot of things. I mean, they have come to rely on your techniques for their
Independence.
and their success and they know to look at the calendar. I mean, it soothes them. It's not because I said, look at the calendar, figure out what you have to do. Would you like to know that I get to create your day every day? No. If you get to look at a calendar and say, oh, this is what's ahead of me, rather than like kind of anxiously anticipating maybe this, maybe that, they don't know. They're 4, they're toddlers. So it has really created a mutual relationship between me and my kids. Well, I mean, you gifted me, and so that's where I am now, is that like if I'm asking them to do morning charts and night charts, first of all, it's allowed me to see, for example, when you say don't do things that they can do and don't do things that they could almost do. It's when they say like, hey, Mimi, I need help, because I go by Mimi and my wife goes by Mama. I'm like, oh, they actually need help. Even that was one of the things I asked you at the beginning in group was my son you would just hear him from the other room. And I knew something was wrong, but boom, I'm from a 3, it's first thing in the morning, to a 4. And the second I hear another whine, I'm at a 5. And I want to go in and I want to growl at him and say, what is the problem? And he walks up to me and says, hey, can you help me put my absolutely I can, because of the way that you just asked. We never really went over. I ordered a bunch of the whining books, and we would sit every breakfast and they would choose Whiny gets the willies, or William gets the whinies, and then the bunny rabbits, where they send him away to whiny land. And we would sit and read them at breakfast rather than have, iPads or conversation, or they get to entertain themselves or whatever it is. I would sit and I would do the whining books. So I don't think I actually necessarily went into practicing with him, but it went away. And when he asks for help, you're absolutely right, I will help you, because the way you asked me doesn't trigger me. I understand a lot of the work is clearly that I am triggered by their behavior, and figuring out that is a whole different thing. Not being as easily triggered or as quickly triggered is, I guess, fundamentally because they can't work on this. They can only work on our relationship.
And all the work that you
So
put in,
I think
Tammy, all the work that you put in allowed him to be able to come to you and ask you. It wasn't, it's all the
yeah.
things. And so that's when parents say, my kid whines, it drives me crazy. How do you make them stop? You can't just make them stop. You have to make some changes. So you filled up that attention bucket. You filled up that power bucket. You gave him less anxiety in the morning, knowing what's going to happen. You gave him more independence and responsibility. You made him feel more capable. You showed him what he was capable of. And so now he doesn't need to whine. So you did so many things. You spent time at the breakfast table reading, engaging, not iPads. All of those little things are huge impacts to get you where you are.
And the other thing that I've learned about his feeling empowered, because I'm the baby of 5, he never got like new clothes, because whatever was gender neutral enough to send, or he would wear his sister's dresses, if that's a different story. But he even, okay, so there's this hill that we walk up every morning to school. When we get to the top, I'm a yoga teacher, and I know that breath calms me. And also when you're out of breath, sitting in puts you in fight or flight mode. The second you want to calm down, take some slow, big, deep breaths. It is not rocket science. So in order to help them calm down and me calm down, I say to them, do you guys want to do 5 big breaths or 4 big breaths? They're always going to choose 5 because the bigger number, and they got a choice in it. Do you guys want to have 1 cookie tonight or 2 cookies? They're always going to choose 2. But it's the idea that they think they got it. It really has changed. And my son asked for ice cream at breakfast this morning. He still does not get, like, he's like, but we just woke up from nap. Like, he really doesn't still get that nap and bed are different. It's the cutest thing to me, or that like breakfast and dinner are different in terms of generally what people eat, generally what is served, generally how much effort you put into cooking for it. And so he asked for ice cream, and my inclination wasn't just to say no. And my inclination was to say, I see you really want ice cream. Just because of time, I might also say, we could do it if we had all woken up a little bit earlier, but how do you feel about having ice cream after dinner tonight? It wasn't a fight. It wasn't no. He felt recognized. There wasn't an unnecessary meltdown that I was like,
Mhm.
I'll show you what you really, now you don't get any ice cream at all. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you normally would have picked up the end of the rope and power struggled, and it would have just been an automatic autopilot no, which causes those struggles. You have learned, I know you say you haven't gone through the whole program. Imagine what's going to happen when you do go through the whole program.
Yep.
You have already
Yep.
made so many changes.
I have had people say to me, do you have an electric chair at home? Why? Because how are your children so well behaved? Like, are you doing shock therapy at home? I swear to God. I swear to God, I was at a birthday party this weekend, and it was a mom. It's a dear family friends. And they're like, they just like, they are so happy to engage with adults. They asked, somebody wanted a second piece of cake. They checked with you first, and then they said to another adult, mate, could you please help me? May I please have another piece of cake? Because it was not my birthday party. I wasn't cutting the cake. Another mommy was.
It's so
They are in bunk beds, and always, of course, the top is the one able to make the bottom like a little den, and I put fairy lights on the top, and I there's a privacy blanket, so you have your own little cave. I'm back to being, I'm the baby of 5. I always wanted a younger brother or sister, somebody that I could play with, somebody that I could, my brothers and sisters are all 12, 13, 11 years older than, nobody wanted to play in a fairy castle lit cave with me, but my kids do. And they want to do arts and crafts, and they want to know why I ordered glitter pom poms and glitter pipe cleaners, because I want to play with you, because I want to sit at the table. I want to order subscription boxes for Christmas rather than like, here's a toy, get out of my face. I want to order subscription boxes because that will have us engaged, because I like you. You're my babies.
It's so
It's
amazing.
awesome.
It's so,
Yeah.
so amazing.
I think that people think I took a magic pill. I think that people think I just birthed better children. It's not a magic pill. I'm telling you at the bare minimum. But then I would tell people, go to Tia's website and do golden time. The problem is, it's like saying, learn to put like, I don't even know. It's like,
It's like having
that's
an
like,
ice cream sundae without the chocolate sauce. Like you do
yeah, like
need all
you're
of it.
missing a
Mhm.
huge, you're missing other things that are extra, but they make it so much better.
Mhm.
So I would say go to Golden Time, but I myself learned Golden Time from a therapist. I also have preached this and preached this and preached. The second I overheard another mom, and it's in your writing that you have to label it and call it, but it's like being in group therapy. The therapist sometimes is like, well, I put it in the writing, I gave it couldn't be more obvious. But hearing another person who's not on their level, who's much more on a novice level, you're like, oh. I
Mhm.
would tell them, you have to do golden time, but you have to be in the parenting group.
Mhm.
And parents have said to me, yeah, but I have a kid who is on the spectrum, or I have a kid who's a teenager. Believe me, if you think you're having trouble, other parents are in there that you don't feel like, I can't tell the truth about my darkest, dirty secret, because no one else has it this bad. The magic pill, it takes work to swallow, meaning there's a financial investment and there's a time investment, but the money is going to get pissed away in some other way, and the time is certainly going somewhere. You're going to be 3 months down the road no matter what, and that money is going somewhere. It's either going to toys that you feed them, um, classes that you put them in so you don't have to spend time with them, vacate nannies that you're like, I don't want this. Like the money's going somewhere else.
Mhm.
So that's what I would say. That was a very roundabout way to say, I would say you need a time investment and a money investment. And also probably if you contact Tia, because she's not Dr. Becky at this point, she might be able to work with you, is what I would say. If there's a financial investment that you can't swallow, I would say probably contact her personally and tell her that Cami sent you.
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. Well, I'm so, so impressed with your hard work, your dedication, your openness in the group, how far you've come. I remember your discovery call very clearly sitting here in my desk that weekend chatting with you.
Yep.
And you know what? You jumped on board right away. You did not hesitate. And I really feel like it's changed your life. And from
Yep.
everything you've said today, I think you feel the same
It's
way.
changed my life.
And that makes me so, so, so happy. So thank you
Yeah.
for sharing with us and thank you for being here and for putting in all the hard work to change generations to come.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was raised in a very angry, very scary household, and that's what we know. And I do think you say, like, parenting is learned, and it's not, we're not just born knowing how to do it. I just needed some education on what to do when I would wake up and be like, what do I do?
Mhm.
And I needed not just you, but I really did need the hours and hours and hours of videos of listening to the other parents and the Facebook group where I could be like, yeah, that doesn't necessarily pertain to me because I'm out of potty training. I'm still going to read it because there's probably something in there. Um, and then like I was very anti the fact that I did not have one-on-one with you. And I was proved wrong. It's the same way I felt about my therapist when she said you should do group therapy.
Mhm.
Don't think that I want to sit and listen to everyone else's problems. I want you, and that's what I'm paying for. And I just don't think I would have gotten as much out of it.
Yeah, the group is the results that parents get in the group are just
Yeah,
exponential compared to
yeah,
one-on-one because you're so motivated by others. You're heard, you
yeah,
learn from others. It's like I love my program. It's like my third baby and I love it because it
yeah,
works. So that's so
yeah.
great.